Hi everybody. So the other week you saw our solar system which we installed, and promised that we would be adding further hardware to it. So what could that hardware be? Well, the obvious choice is a battery. So I'm just going to run you through the battery system that we've purchased. So these boxes here are batteries, and this is what they look like inside. And these collection of nuts and bolts and copper bits of metal and epoxy plates and a frame and all these bits and bobs here are a battery, and I'm going to build it myself. I'm going to try anyway. So this is a kit I found online, which caught my interest. Primarily due to the price of it. So we've got 17 kilowatts of storage here with these EVE batteries, which is a top Chinese brand used in many electric car, and it costs around about 1,500 euros. So on a per kilowatt basis, that's around about 100 euros per kilowatt. Now I went to the market and got some quotations in for battery storage systems which are pre-made, as it were. And the cheapest ones I could find with a reputable name came in at just over 200 euros per kilowatt. So this system here is half the price. Okay, I've got to build it myself. I've watched a few videos on it. I've read the instructions. Doesn't look too complicated. I've built computers before. Back in the day, I used to have a Bitcoin mining farm set up at home, and I built all that myself. So I think I could probably do it without too much trouble. So we're gonna have a go at it. One of the things that gives me a bit of confidence that I can actually do this, or that this system is going to work well, is that back in the UK we used to have a Give Energy system battery storage, which I think was about 8 kilowatts, and within a few days of it being installed, it wasn't working properly. These cells here all have to run at a very similar ampage and wattage to work properly. And one of the cells inside it, which I didn't realise it was these sort of batteries inside it at the time, it came in a fancy metal box like this with Give Energy printed all over it. And the guy came out, stripped it apart, and it was just full of these cells. And all he did was took one out, replaced it with this, put it back together, and hey presto, he did the balancing with the battery management system, and it all worked. It was just these proprietary cells, which are very cheap, batched up in a fancy box with a fancy name, and charged at a premium price. So we're not paying that premium price. We're gonna have a go at doing it ourselves. I got the instructions sent to me yesterday on my phone, but me being me, I'd already started putting it together. Just put these casters on the bottom and the handles on the side there. So the next step is to put these epoxy boards in. I guess this is to add some sort of insulation in between the cells and the case. So that's what we're going to do next. So these are the epoxy boards which get stuck to the cells, okay, on the side there. The cells, when they came in these boxes down there that we just looked at, actually came with additional ones. The set that came with the case. So we've got extra of them, I think. So it looks like these boards have got to go on both sides of the cell. I assume they're like sticky back plastic or something. These ones certainly are, look. So this first one, in fact what I'll do, I shall put the epoxy on inside here for a start, and I can load them straight in. Epoxy board A, 2 pieces. Epoxy board B, 2 pieces. Epoxy board C, 2 pieces. Yeah, so they fit in the bottom, so that's board A. So these must be board B's, yeah, so they fit nicely there. And then board C, which looks like it needs to be cut to size, by the looks of it. Wonder how that's going to cut. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so that's the epoxy boards inside, as you can see. Just had to cut that one at the back there. Cut it down to make it fit in. It just cut nice and easily with a pair of kitchen scissors. Don't tell Emma, she'll tell me off. Next, we need to get the batteries in. So we need to put these epoxy plates on each side and load them up. So I'm just making sure that I'm getting the terminals in the right position. So this is the positive, negative, positive, negative. On the next one, the positive is going to be here, negative. So it's alternating each time as we install them. So these ones are only having the epoxy on one side now. Not on the back side because there's already a epoxy there. Okay, so I'm going to finish doing that. And I'll come back in a moment. Okay, so I've got all the batteries in with the epoxy sheets on, as you can see. Alternating the terminals down, just double checking now that I have done. Yeah. I did notice while I was putting them in that each one of them has got a QR code and a serial number on it. Yeah, so obviously been on the internet and had a look what that's all about. And it's to confirm whether they are genuine or fake batteries, because these are sold as EVE batteries, which are, as I said, top quality batteries used in a lot of cars and stuff. So I've scanned the QR code and it's come and says it is a genuine EVE battery. I don't know whether you'll be able to see that. Given the details of it, the serial number, the date of manufacture, 6th of March 2025. So that's just a nice bit of quality check there, I think. Okay, so the next thing in the instruction is to put the plates back on here to hold them all in place. So that is this plate here, with these bolts. So it's saying I need 6 of these M612 hexagon Phillips screws. So that's these ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 of them. And how am I putting this plate on the right way around? Let's have a look. Possibly not. So there's that. Right, that. Yeah, we've done all those holes. All those holes lined up now, nicely. Just get these in place first, then I'll go around and tighten them all up. That's one on this side. Right, so they're all gone in, so they're all lined up nicely. And just tighten them up. Okay, so that's the next bit done. Right, back to the destructions. Okay, so it's more insulation this time. So these are the boards which are going to run along the top here in a minute. And then these will connect to the battery and take readings from the battery, I believe. So we can see a state of charge and stuff like that. But first I've got to put an insulator on the back of it. It's a foam insulator, which is this foam insulator here. So there's two of these to be done. Okay, so the hole, you can't see, but the holes don't quite line up. So what I'm going to have to do is try and get a best fit scenario, I think. I guess these here are lining up with this part of the battery here, which is some sort of soft. I don't know whether it's like a if pressure builds up in the battery for what reason it blows out. It's some sort of valve or something like that. I'm not sure, but that's what these seem to line up over the top of that. I'm going to try and hover this over the top. And it looks in about right place. There we go, she's on. Oops. We've lost a screw. We have it. Building this on the table, I'm also quite conscious that I've got to get it off the table as well. It's quite heavy. Without dropping it as well. Okay, so that's that done. Just trying to keep on top of keeping it tidy with all these little bits of paper and stuff knocking around everywhere. Okay, so I'm just jumping forward a little bit here because the instructions are just for the show this metal bit here, not this circuit board bit on top being installed, and then they're numbered differently. This one's PSB and the other one's PSA. So I'm just jumping forward a little bit on the instructions to make sure that I'm putting the right board in the right area. And according to the instructions, we need the A board on the left hand side here. So we need 8 pieces of the M612 hexagon screws. M612, so they're the same ones we used last time. So how many of them? 8. So the bags come all nicely. So we've got 29 of the 6x12s. So that foam I've just installed is actually obscuring the hole underneath it. So I've just poked a hole in it. And again, I'm just going to do them up loosely just to make sure everything fits okay. This is not an instructional video, obviously. Never done this before. So it's just the way I understand the instructions and how I'm going to put it together. So if you end up blowing yourself up after following this, don't come looking for me. Okay, so that's that one. I'll do the next one and then come back to you. You know when you're just standing there talking to yourself and you think that you're recording what you're doing, but you're not actually really? Anybody watching you think you're a complete madman. So that's exactly what I've been doing. I'm not sure where I've recorded up to. So just a quick recap on what I have done. We've now put these bars on to connect the cells together, connecting positive and negatives. So this is a positive, this is negative, positive, negative. So they're all connected up down the two outsides and similar up the middle, leaving these two terminals. These will be connected, I guess will be connected to the main controllers. We've fixed down this circuit board, which came with two temporary screws, so we'll remove them and put permanent screws in there and here. And now we're going to use these flange nuts to connect these little wires and hoops, because these are used for monitoring the information in the battery. So that'll screw onto there. I haven't got my socket set with me, so I'm going to go and get my socket set. I'm going to make a cup of tea and I'll be back. And hopefully we haven't missed anything. Have a cup of tea, so things are looking better. Right, socket set, flange bolts. Let's figure out where all these little wires go, shall we? So the reds are going on the positive terminals, the red wires. I don't think they'll actually reach anywhere else. Is that going on? Where does that one go? Positive, negative. Where does that one go? I guess that one goes there. That one's going there. I'm just going to put that cap back on there. So the majority of these wires, they won't reach anywhere else, so you've got to put them on that particular terminal. So that was fairly straightforward, apart from the black ones, which could reach numerous ones. You just need to double check that. The red ones, which go on to positive, will only reach one terminal, so it's pretty self-explanatory where they go. So now you need to tighten these up. To 10 Newton meters on the torque bench, which I don't have, so it seems quite a lot, 10 Newton meters. So I'll just knit these up and see how we go. So the next instruction is to fix the copper wiring onto the BMS. So this is the BMS. BMS stands for Battery Management System. So this is what monitors and maintains the battery to make sure everything's all the cells are charging at the right level and equally and stuff like that. I suppose it's the sort of the brains of the system. So, right. So the diagram showing the black cables, which I presume are negative cables. And that's showing to go on like this. And this one is showing to go on like this. This is the bit I wasn't not looking forward to be honest with you, this part of it, but I'm sure it'll all turn out nice. Yeah, so they're shown to come off with a bit of an angle like that. But there's a jaunty angle. Okay, So that's the copper, what they're describing as the copper wires. Fix the COM board by M3 screws times 6. M3 times 6, 4 numbers, so that's this bag here. Fix the COM board, so we're looking at some sort of board then. Oh yeah. So here we are. This is the COM board. So this is where these are the external sockets. So these are like your Ethernet cables, and even though they're not Ethernet cables, that sort of thing where your telephone cable would go in, etc., etc. So I'm guessing this is the COM board, and we're fitting it to this here, okay, which is this will be the back of the unit, and you can see the positive and negatives. This is where the main cables will come out and go to the inverter. So this COM board, let's have a look. Must fit like that. Okay, now before I do that, I have noticed this section here is solid, and I have noticed that we have this fuse, this RCD, which needs to stick through this hole here. So I'm just going to nip outside, and it's semi-cut already, so I'm going to see if I can just punch it out for that to go in. I'm going to do that before I attach anything delicate to it, because I don't want to accidentally smash it or hit it or break it, which is quite likely. Okay, so I punched that out. That came out really easy actually. Just a hammer and a steel punch, just knocked it through. Very simple. We've also taken the battery, the main battery, off of the table onto the floor. I didn't want to add any more weight to it. I mean, this is only marginal weight compared to that, but I didn't want to add any more weight to it because it's flipping heavy. Okay, so we're fixing this, aren't we? That's what we're doing. So this is the comms. Yeah, so this is the comms circuit board, and we're using these 4 screws here. Again, nicely labelled up. Okay, so there we go. These are communication ports. The RS485 CAN. This is the language that our inverter speaks. So this will be the connection here. Up to the inverter, I think, hopefully. Fix the circuit breaker to the back of the board. Yeah, so that's the circuit breaker is what this hole that I've just broken out for. So this is the circuit breaker here. Which way is this going? So it's going in this way. By the brackets. Fix it by the brackets. Okay, so we have some brackets, presumably. Let's have a look. Yep, so there we go. So there's no need to actually punch those 2 holes out at the side. This holds it in place. Fix the pole plus and pole negative on the back of the board by the M410 negative, positive. So these are the connections which will run from the battery to the actual inverter. So it goes this way. Okay. Okay, so just a small error in the instructions there. It was asking for 4 times 10 bolts, when in reality it really meant that it wanted 4 times 12 bolts. these ones, 8 ones, to fix this, to fix the negative and positive poles onto there. So it's just a slight error in the instructions there. So connect the BMS to the division plate. So I presume this is what they mean by the, I think you can see that. This plate here is the division plate, and I think the BMS sits on here like this. All the screw holes seem to line up, so I'm going to go with that. Okay, so that's the BMS. I'm guessing that these are going to connect onto these terminals at some point. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, so we've done everything on the instructions. However, looking at the diagram, there's a number of steps we haven't done. Such as connecting these cables to the terminals. So the short one goes to the positive on there and then plugs into this into that there. How does that work? So this short one goes to negative, so that goes in there like that. And then there's I presume that's what this screw does here, that clamps up onto the terminal, yeah. So that's clamped up onto there. And presumably this goes this way. Okay, so from the written instruction that wasn't clear, but from the diagram it is, and then you connect into the output by these copper bolts, which again I don't think is actually written on the, no, it's not clear on the instructions that, but however we can see from the diagram. So let's put this back in here then. So that goes, short one goes to the red terminal. So let's clip that back in here. I woke up this morning, everything felt new. The sky was so blue. Clips onto there, there's my socket. I bet this is the wrong size. Yeah. Okay, need a different socket. I'll be back. Okay, so to this point the instructions have been fairly good. However, they seem to have gone a little bit awry, as if like a whole page is missing or something. But anyway, I think I've figured it out just by following the drawing rather than the written instructions, because they're non-existent basically. So there are these cables here, which will eventually go down onto those long boards that we fitted earlier. So this one will go over here, and this one will go there. That's not on the instructions. This, I presume this cable here, where it's going to attach onto this positive terminal here, I believe. So I assume that's going to power the BMS, presumably. I'm not sure. We have these cables here, which I've managed without stretching them too much. So these go from the BMS up to the control, the COM port. There we go. Okay, so there's this one with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Has that got 10 cables going from there up to this one with 10 cables, and then this one with 2 for this one with 6 cables is going up to this COM port here with 6 cables. Then we have this ribbon wire which goes from the connection on the COM port again and connects into this port here that says P1 on it. It's not long enough at the minute to connect it in for me to be able to show you. Also not on the instructions but on the diagram is this this here, which is the on-off button. We've actually got 2 of them, one which came in one box and one which came in the other. So I originally connected this one up, didn't need it. So this is the on-off button which runs into this bank of cables here. This connects into the screen, which is going to go onto the door shortly, but at the minute it's there. I've not connected it up, but that connects into there and then connects via this jobby here, via this into the BMS. I'm not sure what that says, some Chinese writing, but it connects into there. I followed all of this off the drawing. As I said, there's nothing on the written instructions to advise you on this. Hopefully it's right. I guess we'll see when we try and turn it on and if it works or not. But that's my interpretation of the drawing anyway. So it's been a week and a half, I think, since I last did anything on this battery, because I couldn't get it running, couldn't get it up and running, unfortunately. I got hold of the supplier, and they were very good. We ran through a few diagnostics, I guess you'd call it, checking different things, and we came to the conclusion that the BMS, this thing here, this is the battery management system, was faulty. So this is the faulty one, which I've just changed, and they sent me a new one out with all the extra cables and stuff. So I've just swapped it over, and it works. Well, I say it works. It turns on. I still have to wire it up to not the transformer, the inverter yet at the kitchen. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get the front screen wired up and get all these bolts and things, these screws, machine bolts, are they? Is that what they call them? Put in, get it together. Now I'm going to roll it through into the kitchen and see if we can't get it wired up. Okay, so this is where I'll be connecting the battery into this little box here. That's where the positive and negative terminals will go, and this one here is where the comms cable goes. So with regards to the actual power cables, I went to the local Obramat. It's like a builder's merchants. Well, it's not like a builder's merchants, it is a builder's merchants. And I bought these lengths of cable, just long enough to reach down to the battery. Bought these terminals, bought a crimping machine, crimped them on the end. I think I've done a fairly decent job. Look, they look alright anyway. We'll see, I guess, if I blow ourselves up. So I'm going to get these connected up before I bring the battery up. Okay, so I got the cable connected. This is the main, these two here. These are the main power cables coming down, and into the battery itself. So the positive and negative. And this blue cable is the comms cable, the communication cable. So this is where the battery and the inverter talk to each other via the CAN port. You see that on the back there? This is the second CAN port. So the RS45, I presume, is this one, and the second one is the CAN port. Yeah, so this took a bit of figuring out, a bit of trial and error to get them to talk to each other. I bought two cables. This cable that's in it, I think it's called an RJ35 or RJ45, something like that. which connects the two together. I did buy a CAN cable because my logic tells me that you know, they're talking to each other through this CAN protocol. They would need a CAN cable for that to happen. So logic out of the window. It wouldn't work with this RS485 CAN cable. It would only work with this RJ35, RJ45, I think that's what it was called, cable. So again, that was a bit of faffing around to figure that out, and also, you know, which port does it go into? There's all those ports in the back, and again, a lot of faffing around to figure out which port that actually works with. But anyway, as you can see, she's working. She's currently charging up. There's quite a lot of draw on the system at the minute because I've got the pump on outside to clean the pool out for the kids. Emma's got the washing machine and tumble dryer on as well. So at the minute, as you can see, there's that -5 figure. That means the battery's discharging. So it's feeding back into the system to help out with the solar panels. So what I was telling you about the cells all having to work at a very similar voltage. So this is a reading of every single cell in the batch, all 16 of them. And this is the BMS monitoring. So all those little cables that you saw me attaching to the individual cells, that's what that was doing. It's recording all this information. And as you can see, they're all almost exactly the same. You can see the BMS actually actively balancing all these cells as they discharge and fill up. So they're all about 3.346. You can see them switching between 4.8 and 4.5. So that's the BMS actually controlling that. And then we've got an alarm. So no alarms, so everything's working nicely. And it's back charging again. You can see at the bottom, it's currently charging at 800 watts. Basically, this is usually charged up by about 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the minute. I mean, we're in the peak of summer at the minute, so I've got an app that tells me how much sunshine we should be getting, and we're currently totting along at about 45 kilowatts a day, which we can't use all of that at the minute for various reasons, but it's enough to get this charged. It's enough to heat the hot water up in the old hot water tank and run everything during the daytime as well. And obviously then at night the battery kicks in and keeps us running all through the night on that solar power, so that it's ideal. So this is the app that came along with the inverter and gives you sort of an overview of the whole system. So on the top left hand side there you can see the PV, that's the solar panels, currently producing just over 4 kilowatts. The load on the house there in the middle, 3.5 kilowatts, and the battery's charging. It's at 29% at the minute, and it's charging at 773 kilowatts. With the grid, we're taking 140 watts from the grid because the inverter needs a little bit of power to run. So this is basically where we monitor the whole system, and just keeping an eye over everything gives us an overview. If we scroll down the page, we get some more information about daily production and the graph at the bottom, which shows you various things. So just turning off all the fields here for a blank page, and so we can work our way through them. So PV production, this is what the solar panels are producing at the minute in the morning. So you can see it sort of kicks in about just after 7 in the morning, starts producing, then quickly ramps up to, what's that, sort of 12 o'clock. It was up to 4 kilowatts there. And you can see the battery also charges as the solar, which is the blue there, charges along. And that's the state of charge of the battery this morning. So you can see it discharging overnight, and then it begins to charge back up again as we go along. So I'm just going to scroll back a couple of days to give you a full day overview. Again, turn off all the fields to start with, so we've got a blank sheet to work with. And so this is what we're taking from the grid at the minute, and as you can see, it's not very much. It's about that 150 watts, apart from that spike in the middle. I'm not sure what that was, but yeah. So we're taking about 150 watts in from the grid at any one time. So barely anything, maybe 2 kilowatts across the whole day, something in that order. So our bill should be quite low, I would have thought, coming from the grid now. This is what the battery is supplying to the house. So this is from 8 o'clock at night till sort of 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning. And you can see the gap in the middle, and that in a minute that's going to be filled with solar production. So the gap is the battery is filling the gap of where the solar panels could never possibly fill. And as you can see, that's the solar production. That light blue curve there, filling that gap for the battery. And obviously the battery is charged during that time as well. So yeah, back on the grid supply there, and you can see the battery. This is the state of charge of the battery, discharging overnight and then charging back up. And you can see by about 2 o'clock where it goes flat at the top there, it's fully charged. And yeah, we're not using all the electricity there for various reasons, mainly being that our solar supplier, the guys who installed the solar panels, are making us jump through hoops to get that certificate, so we can present that to the electricity board or the electricity authority, so we can sell our electricity back to them. As you can see there, the self-consumption 29.4 kilowatts, and the app I use for predicting how much, so at the minute about 45 kilowatts, something like that. So the difference being the 10 kilowatts, 15 kilowatts is potentially what we could be supplying back to the grid. But as I said, we're jumping through hoops. The system's not properly certified yet, so we can only use it for self-consumption and not feed it back into the grid. So we're sort of wasting 10 or 15 kilowatts a day, which we could be being paid for by the grid. But you know, that's just another hoop that we're jumping through, and hopefully we'll get it sorted in the next month or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Who knows? But we'll get it sorted anyway. So staying with the app for the inverter, I'm going to show you the one of the issues that I had with making the inverter talk to the battery. So this is the battery setting. We're going into it, and we're going to the settings of the little cog in the corner, the battery settings. You can see the battery is set for a self-consumption mode at the minute, so you can see the priority is load battery grid. So what that means is that the inverter will first feed the house, the load of the house, and once it's met the load of the house, it will meet the load of the battery, and once that's met as well, then it will start discharging to the grid if we have the correct certification, which we don't, which we're waiting for. But I'm not going to keep banging on about that because I'm not bitter about it at all. Anyway, so we had to get the inverter talking to the battery, and as you'll see, the inverter is set up, pre-set up for a number of different battery makes, and these are all those makes. So you can see the Soul Planet and the Pylon Tech and the Dynes and the UZ Energy. And within each of them, there's at least one other option. Some of them have a number of options. So you can see the Solar Planet one, you can see all the different batteries that it is set up for there. Obviously, this battery setting coming from China is not on here. It's not a well-known make, it's not a brand. So it was a matter of trying to find a battery setting which would allow the inverter to talk to the battery. So I started at the top and worked my way down, and guess what? It was the last one, this common LV. That's the one that worked. So law of the sod there. Maybe I should have tried the last one first, but hey ho, it worked from that point of view. So that was one side of the problem. The other side of the problem is that the battery also had a load of settings with predetermined inverters that it would talk to. So we'll just flip across to that app now, the actual battery app. So here's the app for the battery, or I should say the actual BMS itself. This is the app for the BMS. You can see you can see the cell voltages on there that we looked at on the LCD screen, and the cell wire resistance at the bottom there, all measured in ohms. So those tiny little wires you saw me connecting earlier. You can see temperature of the batteries, how much power's in there, the capacity of it, how much remaining, lots of stuff. You can see the battery's been charged and discharged 16 times. So sort of an overview of the state of the whole battery. So when we flip onto the next screen, see the basic settings at the top there, so 16 cells, and then we've got these advanced settings at the bottom. Now when you initially open this up, all these are preset, but not for this battery. So a lot of research was done online, watching YouTube videos with AI, asking loads of questions about what the optimum settings were for my particular battery, and all these individual fields had to be altered and changed. So not a small undertaking, to be honest. In the middle of the screen there, you can see a setting called CAN protocol with a number 1 next to it. So that's the language that the battery is going to be talking to, and all the preset inverters that are on there. So at the minute I've got it set to CAN protocol number 1, but if we go in a bit deeper there, you can see that these are all the inverters that the battery has been pre-programmed to talk to. And obviously our inverter, the 10-site inverter, is not included on there. So not only was I having to change the settings on the inverter to talk to the battery, I was having to simultaneously change the settings on the battery to talk to the inverter, and it was just trial and error. Probably took me 3/4 of a day just trying this one and that one and this one and then that one, and it worked out that this DE low voltage hybrid inverter talked to our 10-site inverter when it was set to that common LV battery setting. So yeah, it worked. Obviously you're not getting this sort of information in the instruction manual, because the instruction manual is basically 4 sides of A4 with lots of pictures on. So there's lots of trial and error, and very little support from the supplier, to be honest with you. But I guess that's what you get when you're only paying sort of half the price for it. And like I say, all these voltages and settings, and lots of research, like I said, on YouTube, and quite a bit with AI as well. Really helped me to get this set up, or got me in the right ballpark, I should say. It was YouTube videos that got me to sort of refine it and to get it really working well. So, but it's working. I had to turn it off and walk away a few times from it, but yeah, it's done. So we're up and running. As you can see, we're barely using anything off the grid at the minute, and everything's working. I did have problems with the state of charge on the battery, in the fact that once it got up to 100% charge, the battery, it wouldn't discharge. And apparently, again, research on the internet, that's due to a firmware error. I have upgraded the firmware to the latest firmware, but this error persists. So I can't charge the battery up to 100%. If I charge it to 98%, it discharges fine. It issues some sort of false reading, and the BMS does, if it goes up to 100%. And I can get it to work, but it just means taking the front off the battery, and disconnecting the BMS from the power, letting it completely power down for a minute, reconnecting it, and then it discharges. But obviously nobody wants to be doing that every day. So all I've done is set the maximum state of charge to 98%, and everything works fine. Hopefully JK, who are the BMS suppliers, will do an update and sort this area out, because there's a number of people complaining about it on forums, on the internet, etc, etc. So would I do it again? Would I recommend this? I think if you're the type of person who likes to get stuck into building stuff and is not fazed by having a problem and doing research and sorting stuff out yourself, then yeah, I'd recommend it for the cost saving that we made. Yeah, definitely. If you're the sort of person who just wants to come and plug something in and expect it to work straight away, then no, I wouldn't bother buying one of these. I'd spend the extra money. I'd buy one off the shelf, you know, ready configured, ready set up, and you know, do that sort of plug and play affair. So yeah. For me, it's worked alright. I've had occasions where I felt like pulling my hair out with it, and a couple of times where I've had to walk away from it and come back with a clear head to try and figure stuff out. Because obviously the customer support is okay, but not brilliant, to be fair. You're left to sort out a lot of stuff with yourself. A lot of settings, as you can see on the BMS app there are a lot of settings that you need to sort out. I bet there must be 50 settings that you need to go in and sort out, and that took a bit of researching and a bit of common sense situation to try and resolve them, but it's done, it's working. Yeah, so I'm pleased with it. We'll see how our electricity bills are reflected in the coming months, to see if it's worth it, and see what saving it gives us. I mean, just from a rough point of view, prior to the solar panels being in, I think we were paying somewhere in the region of 23 cents a kilowatt. So if you just take that, for example, this battery is 17 kilowatts, but only 15 usable, because you're not allowed, well, you shouldn't discharge them down to zero. You should only run them down to about 10%, because it damages the longevity of those cells inside. But if you say that we're using 15 kilowatts a day at 23 cents, yeah, so that's €3.45 saving a day every time we use this battery and discharge it. So it's not an insignificant amount. So I don't think the payback on the actual battery itself is going to be too long. And it also makes the solar panels a lot more viable, in the fact that instead of just having 8 or 10 hours of usable sunshine, you're getting 24 hours of usable sunshine in effect, because those missing hours are stored in this battery here. A bit geeky this week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's given some value to some people if you're perhaps putting one of these self-build batteries together. I'll list the make of the BMS and the make in the description. So hopefully this will come up on any searches if people are having issues putting these together and putting it back. And yeah, like I say, hopefully this gives a bit of value and helps you along. Okay, back to normal I think next week. Emma's upstairs at the minute canning. We've had an absolute glut of cucumbers, so she's making cucumber relish and pickling cucumbers, and we're having cucumbers for breakfast, lunch and dinner at the minute. So I'm sure there'll be lots of cucumber talk, cucumber news next week. So see you then. Bye now.